In the new America, we have a new Lord and Savior, and you will have to learn to bow to him. He is Donald Trump. He surrounded himself with mostly people who he's seen on TV or billionaires who have been involved in suing the government or in disputes with the very government agencies that they are now running. One of his favorite billionaires, because the billionaire that really donated the most to his campaign was a guy named Elon Musk, ran and still runs Tesla. He also runs SpaceX. Not the founder of Tesla. Most of you know this. He came on as CEO, but Musk, to his credit, he popularized Tesla and got electric cars into the mainstream. I think you have to give the devil his due on that. I try to be fair even to people who I think are loathsome figures, and I think Musk is a loathsome figure. What he's done with government, his Doge program, in which he has scraped government databases from the Treasury Department to Social Security, he has, I would say, stolen information and data from Americans. Now that data and a lot of the personal information that Americans have on government websites and stored in these government institutions is going to be turned over to Palantir. We talked about that yesterday. But so that's a different issue. That's happening officially in a way that I think should also be illegal. But let's leave that aside for now. Musk took a wrecking ball to government. I don't need to tell you how he's dismantled it, created its own chaos, has hobbled everything from the national park system to the EPA and basic clean water restrictions and clean air restrictions. But Musk is gone now. And now Musk is biting back at Donald Trump and that ridiculously bloated bill that is all designed to get the richest Americans a tax break. So there is now a back and forth, and it would appear that the love has drained out of the relationship. I thought Trump was somewhat guarded in some of his comments. Musk, not guarded about what he's saying regarding this bill. He talks about the fact that it is a deficit horror show, and he's right about that, of course. The deficit will grow immensely because of this bill. And I'll just remind you that Donald Trump's presidency in season one, back when he won the presidency and beat Hillary Clinton, he blew the deficit out there also. Trump is not a fiscally responsible executive to begin with, and he's clearly not going to be as president here in season two of Donald Trump. This is Trump speaking in the Oval today about Musk's criticism of the bill that he wants to get through Congress.
The criticism that I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen, regarding Elon Musk and your big, beautiful bill, what's your reaction to that? Do you think it in any way hurts passage in the Senate, which, of course, what is you're seeking?
Well, look, I've always liked Elon, and I was very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible. It's the biggest cut in the history of our country. We've never cut. It's about 1.6 trillion in cuts. It's the biggest tax cut. You would say people's taxes will go way down, but it's the biggest tax cut in history. It's we are doing things in that bill that are unbelievable. And when you look at what we're doing for small businesses, for people, for middle-income people, all of the things that we're doing, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles. And they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And, Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been in there. That's been, I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning. Mr. Secretary, that hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. But I know that it disturbed him. He wanted, and rightfully, he recommended somebody from that he, I guess, knew very well. I'm sure he respected him, but to run NASA. And I didn't think it was appropriate. And he happened to be a Democrat, like totally Democrat. And I say, look, we won. We get certain privileges. And one of the privileges, we don't have to appoint a Democrat. NASA is very important. We have great people. General Kane is going to be picking somebody with our, will be we'll be checking him out and seeing, but he wanted that person, a certain person, and we said no. And I can understand why he's upset. Remember, he was here for a long time. You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk. And even with the black eye, I said, "Do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup." But he said, "No, I don't think so," which is interesting and very nice. He wants to be who he is, so you could make that statement too, I guess. Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. He knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody. And he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape. He said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Yeah, you can see that for Trump, it's always first, what have you said about me personally? I mean, he really does focus on that. And so it's a big deal that Musk hasn't attacked him personally, but he has eviscerated the bill itself. In fact, in various posts on X, it's wild how there is a history that Musk has actually posted. He resurfaced old social media posts in which Trump said that he was embarrassed by Republican efforts to extend the debt limit. "I cannot believe the Republicans are extending the debt ceiling. I'm Republican and I'm embarrassed," Trump said in 2013. Wise words, Musk said after reposting it. Musk also replied to a Trump post from 2012 in which he said members of Congress should not be eligible for re-election if the U.S. doesn't have a balanced budget. "I couldn't agree more," Musk wrote. Again, it was Trump who said that members of Congress should not be eligible for re-election if the U.S. doesn't have a balanced budget. So now Trump in the Oval is claiming Musk had known the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody. I mean, these all, he always speaks in hyperbole, right? So, better than almost anybody, he knew it. And he had no problems with it, Trump said. So, look.
And Musk responds today. He says, wait a minute, no. False. This bill was never shown to me even once. It was passed in the dead of night so fast that almost no one in Congress could even read it. And he says, yeah, no, I wonder if this is a kind of a lover's quarrel or if this is a public breakup. What are we witnessing here?
I mean, I don't know what those labels mean.
Is it just a spat or is this the end?
I see. Yeah. There are two schools of thought on this. And here they are. One is Donald Trump has, of course, shown nothing but an interest in transactional relationships all his life. So it's, what have you done for me lately? And Musk lately has been an impediment, right? Now he's put a stink around this bill. He's a very high profile guy. He's controlling a social media company. And he's gotten it out there that he thinks this bill is horrifyingly awful. So it makes it harder for this bill to pass. The relationship part of it is that Trump, on the transactional side, feels as though, this guy was critical to me winning the office of the presidency, but now he's a pain in the ass. So kind of would like to shove him aside, at least for now. But he shoved people aside before. I mentioned yesterday Steve Bannon and Trump had a huge fight in season 1, and they brought back Steve Bannon in season 2, and now it's a bromance again. So I think these things can always just blow over again because Trump's interested in next week. What do I need from you now? He's interested in the transactional.
He's He's also very, harping on the loyal. So if you speak out against him at all, you're on the outs, which is what Musk just did. On the other hand, Musk pretty much bought the presidency. So now Trump is beholden to him for whatever he wants, right? Because he paid all this money. As a matter of fact, Musk came out today and said, you would have not won if it wouldn't have been for me.
I mean, that's the real truth, yes. But I'd say he's not beholden. Just see the point I just made. The transaction is over. Trump is president. He has a lot of people in place to continue his vision. Much of his vision is self-enrichment, and much of his vision is taking care of, he perceives his constituency, I think, as this billionaire class that he just has to take care of. And the Christian right is being taken care of in a big way by Trump. I mean, from a political agenda standpoint, I think they're in first position. But I would, and of course, this immigration is a Trump thing in a big way, and we'll talk more about it. But the second thing I wanted to say was just that you can overplay the power that Musk has because of his money to primary a lot of these guys. I think some of them might be intimidated by that. Some of them might be. I'm talking when I see these guys, I mean, the men and women who occupy the Senate, because it's all about the Senate now, although this certainly applies to the House as well. But on some level, they're also aware of the political considerations associated with specifics in the bill. And so I think the idea somehow that Musk will be a threat to them, that might be overstated, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't really know, and I think no one really knows to what degree it may be an issue, but that's the other consideration. Obviously, that Musk, with all of that money, can help primary many of these legislators who back this bill or who run afoul of what Musk is saying is the way he wants to go. So, the co-presidency is over. You have Trump, incredibly strong, charismatic personality, even as though I know on the left and many feel as though he's on some level it's a joke, but he does speak and punch through this media ecosphere such that people always listen to what he's saying, as ridiculous as it might be. Musk, powerful and moneyed, also has a place at the political table. I just don't know how this all shakes out for the Senate. That's all we're talking about is the vote on this bill. So if you're a senator who cares very much about Trump calling you out personally, you may be cowed by that, cowed into a yes vote. But they're going to reconstitute this one way or the other. There are going to be some changes to this bill. And so we'll see how it all comes together. But for the moment, you're right, Kim. I mean, there's no love lost for the moment. It's Trump was careful, but I'd suggest he was also he's over it. He's right. He's over Elon Musk, and so
For now.
yeah, for now. But again, he could rise in next week's episode. For Trump, it's all a TV series.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Now, I did want to mention that there is investigation underway. They've really gone to town on this Biden thing. Biden wasn't all there. Biden concealed the Biden aides concealed the decline of Biden, and now Donald Trump has launched an investigation into whether aides concealed the mental acuity issues and challenges that Biden was having. He's ordered an investigation into whether aides to former President Biden concealed alleged declines in mental acuity, including the use of an automatic pen to sign Biden's name on official documents. Trump saying he'll look into whether Biden's aides attempted to deceive the public by hiding serious cognitive decline from the American people. This conspiracy marks one of the most dangerous, concerning scandals in American history, he said in a memorandum from the White House. Presidents have long used an auto pen to sign documents, but Trump has repeatedly raised this issue as suggesting that, Biden couldn't even sign his name. Biden didn't know where he was. There's no evidence that Biden aides used the auto pen to take actions without Biden's knowledge, or that Biden's purported decline led aides to take actions on his behalf, reports Politico. The Justice Department has long found that use of an auto pen is valid, so long as the president is the one making the decisions. In response to the Trump order, Biden sent a statement Let me be clear, I made the decisions during my presidency, Biden said. I made the decisions about the pardons, executive orders, legislation, and proclamations. Any suggestion that I didn't is ridiculous and false. This is nothing more than a distraction by Donald Trump and congressional Republicans who are working to push disastrous legislation that would cut essential programs like Medicaid and raise costs on American families, all to pay for tax breaks for the ultra-wealthy and big corporations. That's the statement from Joe Biden. Now, I think both these guys, Trump and Biden, have shown evidence of mental lapses. I think Trump is going after Biden in a way, just as Biden has said, as a distraction. I do think it's the shiny object. Fox News Channel was on in the studio where I was on the air yesterday in Los Angeles, and I was in the studio for 4 hours. It was Biden, autopen, man, for 4 hours, wall to wall, Biden, you know. So, and Jake Tapper is on this book tour, and the book that Jake Tapper has written, of course, has detailed all the ways in which AIDS covered for Biden. The Biden investigation is a way for Trump to void the pardons. I see. Leave Biden alone, says Vilma. That's interesting. The pardon voiding thing we can ask David Katz about. But what I would say is that this is nothing new. The covering for presidents and for politicians and for those who are chief executives making decisions, but who are out of it, drunk, on medicine, diminished in some way. It's been going on since the beginning of the Republic. I mean, you can go back. In my lifetime, Ronald Reagan, I'd suggest, started to lose a couple of steps. And AIDS covered for him. Donald Trump got COVID. He was close to buying the farm. Have you read about what happened with Donald Trump? Go back and read it. And he went out on the balcony there at the White House and faked how good he was feeling. That was a total fake. Trump. And of course, you go back to FDR, who didn't want to be seen laboring as he tried to walk. He didn't want to be seen as weak. And so with Biden, I mean, he had a lot of trouble communicating. I think he had a stutter that was reemerging in all kinds of other ways. I do think he had mental acuity challenges. I'm not giving him a pass on that at all. But I mean, the idea somehow that what are the aides supposed to do? Say, gosh, it's been a rough day. You know, the president's really having a rough time thinking clearly. No, they say, hey, he needs a nap, and let's revisit it when he gets up. I mean, and the last thing I'll say, and this is just a personal point, I've said it before on this show, I take Joe Biden on a hospital gurney with an IV in his arm before I want Donald Trump and his henchmen running this country. I mean, just look at what's happening. So that's where I stand. But just on the questions of mental acuity and the cover-up, come on, man. That's the way this whole thing, I'm not giving them a hall pass on this, but I'm suggesting it's an odd time to throw the flag.
Yeah.
It's been going on for a while. So, all right. But the investigation continues, and so, I mean, Trump is trying to make political hay of that.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell, you'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.